Hi, I'm Ellen, a student going into my third year studying PPE at Jesus College. In this last video in my series looking at student life at Oxford, I'm going to talk about fitting in and finding friends. When you're thinking about going to uni, this can be a big concern, especially after you get accepted and the practicalities of student life are starting to feel a bit more real. Hopefully though, this will feel a lot less intimidating by the time you get to the end of this video. When you're going to any new place, of course fitting in is going to be a worry, and a lot of prospective students may especially feel like Oxford isn't a place for people like them. Oxford is known as a place for people who are rich and posh and went to a private school, and although there is a disproportionate amount of people who fit that description here, and at university in general, it's getting better every year and Oxford is trying to change that. There's a system of access schemes targeted at getting people here who are underrepresented at Oxford because once they get in, they're just as good. Before I ever visited Oxford, I was expecting everyone to be posh and English and incredibly smart and not like me at all. That changed a bit after I came over for interview and found out what people were actually like. Yes, there are a lot of posh people still. Yes, some areas are overrepresented. And anyone who comes from Northern Ireland like me, or further away than that, should be prepared for the cultural shift of living in England and make sure they know it's the right place for them. Yes, everyone is smart at and passionate about what they do, but that doesn't mean we're all what would be considered smart, and some of us have no common sense at all. You don't need to be able to read books if you're here because you're good at computer science. But the people weren't quite what I expected, and I did feel like I fit. I'd highly recommend visiting any universities you're considering applying to and talking to current students if you can, to see if you feel like it's the right place for you, because that's often what can tell you if you're making the right decision and will actually like it here. I applied to Oxford just to see if I'd get in, and it was only at interview that I actually fell in love with it. If you're moving away to university, leaving old friends and relationships behind is likely to be a worry. Oxford terms can get too busy to think about going home regularly, although there are people who travel away most weekends, and some people, like me, are too far away from home to really think of going there during term. I think the pandemic has taught us, though, that there are multiple ways to keep up friendships when you can't physically see your friends all the time. Although, maybe that's taught you that you hate the idea of video calling your friends and don't want to leave your home life for uni. That's fine, and it just means moving away might not be the best option for you. Most Oxford students do keep at least some friends from home, although some friendships drift apart after high school, but that's just the case whatever you do. Relationships are trickier, but they can survive across the distance, and there are people who do it, especially if they're not so far away that their partner can't practically visit very often. Some people prefer their social life at home, and others feel like they've found their crowd in Oxford. And so long as you're willing to spend half the year in Oxford, either can work. But how do you find new friends? It can be quite tough to move to a new place for the first time and have to build up a support circle from nothing. Some of us haven't done that since primary school. Luckily, Oxford students know this, so find ways to make the process of making new friends as easy as possible, as well as pretty accelerated, especially if you tend to live around each other all the time, so can become quite close to someone in a matter of weeks. A lot of events in Freshers Week are really geared towards helping you to get into new things and meet people, and I'd advise you to go to as many as you can. Even I found my Freshers Week really helpful, and that was in 2020. The college system also helps when it comes to meeting people, as it's quite a small environment which makes it easy to form a group of people who know each other, even if they don't become your best friends for the rest of your degree. And when you introduce yourself to someone from your college, you know you'll probably actually see them around. The college system is also responsible for creating college families, where you're given 2 or more parents in the year above who help you and your college siblings who are in the same year to adjust to life at Oxford. People usually get college married at some point during their first year, and you can play around with that tradition as much as you want. Some people just see it as a way of supporting other students, and others have more fun with having the opportunity to say they have a spouse and getting college divorced and all that kind of stuff. If you want to get to know some people before coming to Oxford to make it less scary, you can often meet people through Facebook and Discord chats that are set up before term starts. And if you don't find anyone you particularly want to hang out with in Freshers Week, don't worry. If you go to enough events and join some societies, or even just start conversations with other people who live in your staircase, you'll find someone to hang out with. There's even an Oxmatch service for people to be set up on blind dates, so you could choose to be for either friendships or relationships, at least once a term. While you don't have to live with friends, and no one makes you interact with anyone in your flat or your staircase if you don't want to, it can be a really nice part of Oxford life. Everyone who studies at Oxford has to live there unless you get an exemption, so you really can get the experience of spending lots of time with friends when nobody's going home in the evenings or even at the weekends. Usually you can pick who you live with after first year, and that's something people usually look forward to. Sharing flats is usually a great experience where you can experience independent living for what's often the first time, while still having friends and support close by. It's not for everyone though, and naturally, sometimes it causes drama. When you're thinking of moving in with someone, it's important to make sure that your living habits are compatible. Someone can be your best friend but live like a messy slob while you're neat and tidy, or stay up making noise while you're trying to sleep. If that's the case, you might want to live with someone else. Of course, sometimes people just fall out too, and this can get awkward when you live in the same place. Just like you can fall out with your family when living with them. But people tend to find living together a really positive experience as a whole. So, while finding friends at university can be scary at first, there are many ways to find friends at Oxford, and students can find a place where they fit in. If you want to learn anything else about student life at Oxford, I have a whole series about it, and the Jesus College channel can answer a lot of your questions too. Bye for now.